I'm drinking some fruit punch because I needed a little pick-me-up today. Okay, so I wanted to talk about time management just because when I first started out as a coach, this was like probably one of the biggest struggles I had. And if any of you guys know a lot about my journey, when I first started, I did my 21-day fix boot camp, and that was after, a month. And then Carly reached out to me and was like, hey, you've been showing up in the group. You'd be an awesome coach. And so I was like, okay, I don't think so, but cool. Like, thanks for the love. I was like so insecure and didn't agree with her at all. And then I just decided to jump in. She kind of like convinced me. We had a lot of phone calls, and she, showed me what it would look like in my life to be a coach. She paired it into my dreams and my goals. And so I was like, okay, cool, I'll try this out. And then it was about like 5 months of just like soaking it all up and like being a sponge. And like, I like tried to hit Success Club. I like tried to hit goals and stuff, but I really wasn't giving it like 100%. I was more just like really focused on learning. And again, I was like super insecure. And so it was really hard for me to put myself out there. And then come January, so that was all like kind of summer, fall, and then wintertime, I was like, okay, I'm going all in. I like dropped out of school at the time. I was going for my yoga teacher training, my 200-hour certification, because I was kind of in a transition, like didn't want to pursue music in school like I was. So time management was like my biggest issue because I was so crazy busy, and I was mad at myself because all of those months leading up to January, I had so much time. Like, my schedule was so free. I wasn't working a job. I was going to school, but like I would spend my afternoons and nights in my little apartment dorm room, like watching team calls and just like soaking it all up and learning. And I could have been like pouring it into my business, but that's okay. So anyways, in January, I started my yoga certification, and it was on the weekends. And then during the weeks, I was working my job at this like health food market. I was at the time just like a server, kind of. I would help bring people up, but I was working like 30 to 40 hours a week, and then had my yoga certification on top of that on the weekends. And I was like, yeah, let's start coaching, like perfect timing. So it was really hard at first because I like had so much going on, but I wanted to share that with you guys to just, encourage you and inspire you that if I could do it, you can do it too. No matter if you're in like a really crazy busy season, or if maybe you're in like a really, really slow and not busy season. And I'm going to share with you guys kind of just like a few of the ways that I did things back then, and then also a little bit of how things have changed and how they are now. So the first thing I wanted to start out with is just kind of this quote, I guess. I made it up, but it's just master your time or it will master you. And that's really the way it is with coaching, because if you are not being super intentional with your time, if you're just like going through your day and you're really crazy busy, and you're like trying to do the things you have to do as a coach, like maybe you're following a tracker or something, but you're not being super intentional, like your time will be the master of you. Like, I've gotten to the end of days at different times in my coaching career, and I've just been so frustrated with myself and depressed, or like, anxiety ridden. Like, what did I do today? Like, how did the day come to an end? Like, why is it already over? Like, what did I even do today? So you really have to be so intentional, and know like it comes with practice too. Like, if you're really bad at time management, like I was, it's okay. Like, you'll get better with it, but you have to be intentional and like proactive about getting better. Like, it's just like your health journey. You can't like sit around and just be like, well, I hope I get fitter, and like not do a workout. Like, you have to press play on the workout. So it's the same thing with time. And with this business, like the beauty of it is that we are all our own bosses. So like, there's this freedom to work wherever we are, whenever we are. Like, that's so amazing. But the double-edged sword comes in because like we can control the work that we do. We control our schedule, and there's a massive temptation to be lazy or like skip work if we're having a really bad day, or if we just don't feel like it, or if we had a bad day at work and maybe we're coming home to do coach work and we're like, oh, I just want to watch Netflix for 3 hours instead. So like there's that massive temptation to just not show up because nobody really knows about it, right? Like you're not answering to a boss, you're answering to yourself. And so this is where like the discipline really has to come in. This is where like you have to have integrity with yourself, you know? And I love Rachel Hollis. I don't know if you guys listen to her, but she's like my idol. Yes, Nadia is like, woohoo. But she talks about this so much that like if you're building a business or you have a big goal or a big dream for yourself, like you have to be honest with yourself and like just think about integrity. Like if you want to be a person of integrity, like you have to be honest with yourself about what you're doing with your time and you know just how intentional you're being with it. And another thing that's really cool about our coaching community and that I've always loved is that like it's a community, right? So accountability is one of the biggest pieces of our community. So if you're not like, if you're really struggling with time management and you're not putting it out there or you're not sharing it with anyone or you're not reaching out for help, like again, that's on you because you're your own boss and it's your job to, you know, take initiative, find the resources, go on YouTube, watch the videos, watch the trainings, and reach out to your girls because I, you know, promise you there are a million other people who have struggled with the same thing, whether it's time management or something else. But like I said, you know, like I really struggled with time management in the beginning of my journey. And it only gets better with practice and intentionality over time. And if you can ask multiple people's opinions, learn from different trainings, like you're going to figure out a system and a routine that works for you and you're going to figure it out, right? But if we try to go at these things alone, like we're never going to get better. And then we're just going to like dig ourselves into a deep, dark hole. Again, it's like the same thing as our health and fitness journey. Like if we try to do it always on our own, we're not reaching out for help or sharing like that we're having problems, then it gets so lonely and it's just such a struggle. So this also kind of comes into like asking yourself, like, how bad do I want it? You know, like, what is my vision for this business? What is this business helping me with? You know, like, is it, I always ask myself, what is it the vehicle for? What is it the pathway for? Because for me, before coaching, I wanted to be a musician, and music was kind of like this pathway to inspiring people, helping people, sharing positivity with them. And coaching kind of became that pathway for me, while also at the same time giving me an income, like a sustainable income. And I don't know if any of you know anything about the music industry, but it's not very sustainable. Like it's really hard. It's crazy. And my husband's in it right now. And so I just like admire him so much for his faith and like constant persistence with it and determination. But like, yeah, that's like what the business became for me. And so ask yourself, like, what is my vision for this? What is my why? What is it helping me get to? And then that's when you can really dive into like how you need to manage your time better. Not that if you have a small why or a smaller vision, or like maybe you don't want to go full time with this or something, that you should allow yourself to be unintentional with your time. But it's just that it's ultimately like so much more important if you're pursuing coaching as something that's going to give you a really big, you know, dream or a big goal. Like you have to, it's like all the more important. So yeah, just remember, like, it's your job to check in with yourself and ask if you're truly being smart and intentional with your time and like the work that you're putting in. And one question I really like to ask myself, like even every week or so, and I've been coaching, you know, for like 2.5 years and I'm still doing this, but is asking myself, like, how much time am I spending on the business? And then like, look at my results and my success and ask like, what is that? And like, how are those correlating, you know? Because if I'm working every day, 12-hour days, but I have like 0 Success Club points, or like I haven't changed anyone's lives, like there's got to be something missing. There's got to be something I'm doing wrong, or maybe I'm working on the wrong type of stuff. So make sure you're checking into that as well, because that could be a sign that like you're working on the wrong thing maybe. But again, like the best part of our coaching community is that the resources are out there. The community is out here, like in this team. There's YouTube. I remember like when I was struggling with time management, I asked Carly what she did. And she was like, I suck at time management. And she sent me a YouTube video. And I don't even remember the coach. I think it was, I don't know. She's like some superstar diamond, like amazing coach right now. But I listened to her video and she literally went through her daily schedule, and she was a mom, and she was like, I scheduled my day out in 15-minute segments, increments. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. But I forced myself to do it. And it actually worked. It helped me so much because I realized, oh my gosh, like when I, drive home from work, there's this 15-minute period where I'm usually just like laying on the couch to catch my breath. And like, I could be laying on the couch sending reach outs, or I could be laying on the couch, like checking into my boot camp, And so there's little ways you'll figure out how to be a little bit more effective with your time. And if you need to realize like, no, I need a 15-minute break right after I come home from work, then like be intentional with that break and be intentional to breathe or do yoga or like lay on the couch for that break, because if you're being intentional with it, you don't have to apologize for it. Right. So, the other thing I wanted to share is just like when the work gets really fun and actually like easy, in my opinion, and it can become like easy to work all day long when you're actually doing work that like starts producing results, because then you're having conversations that are fun, that are engaging, that are exciting. You're like getting to know people, that are your tribe. And then you're getting them plugged in and getting them results in your boot camp, and like maybe even adding them to your team. Like it all just becomes so much more fun to work more and like be more successful with it all. But then again, like that gives you the freedom to be able to take breaks, to be able to go on a vacation, to be able to, take a trip or whatever. Like it's so rewarding at the end of the day. But if like most of your work time is draining you, that also might be a signal that you're not being effective or intentional with your time. Because I remember the days when I would get home and I would just feel so drained. Like I would be going to bed at midnight after, I came home from my shift at Urban Market, and then I would do coach work, and I realized like I wasn't being effective with my time, and I felt super drained because I was literally just like scrolling on people's stuff 90% of the time. And I was just like refreshing my email or refreshing my DMs and like trying to see if somebody that I invited said yes. And like, that's so draining. Like if you're doing that type of stuff all day long, and I know it sounds silly right now, but like if you're in that phase or that season, like you probably get it. Or maybe you've had days like that. You probably understand, like you just get to the end of it and you're like, I worked all day. Like I feel so drained, but like, why is there, like no success, like nothing, the needle hasn't moved. So we really want to focus on like the actions that are moving the needle. And when I say that, you can think of like IPAs or income producing actions, like especially if you are really, really busy. Like I know, I don't think Heather's on this call right now, but she works like 1,000,000 hours per week. And so do some other people on this team. So like those people, I'm just like so impressed by you guys. But if that's your scenario, you really have to focus on the IPAs first and foremost. And then everything else kind of takes a backseat. Not that it's not important, like it still is, but it's not the priority, right? Like if you get to the end of the day and you missed a team call, or you missed a group chat, or you have to like catch up on messages in your group chat, or like even in your boot camp, that's okay. But if you sent all your reach outs, you sent all your invites, you got connections with new people, you were present on Instagram, like that's awesome. Like you did the things that are probably going to build your income, that are going to bring you new people to your tribe and bring you a paycheck. And that'll allow you to keep doing coaching so that you can also, spend a little bit more time on your team or on your clients or on the community parts of things like the team calls and the fun stuff, So you can even make that kind of motivation for yourself if you find that like you're spending a lot of time maybe in more of the fun, like community parts of things and not so many on the IPAs, I guess. Like maybe just like try to flip that and use all that fun stuff as like motivation. Or a lot of times, like I'll give myself a challenge if I'm struggling to hit Success Club, which I am this month for some weird reason. I will challenge myself and say, you can watch your favorite Netflix show once you hit Success Club. So like giving yourself little incentives like that. But obviously if you don't have a lot of time, I would recommend just pouring all the time and effort into your business and just maybe cutting out Netflix for a season. Okay, I'm totally like going off script here, so I need to get back to my notes. Oh, okay. So I wanted to kind of share with you guys really quickly what my part-time coaching life looked like when I first started out. So basically, like I told you guys in the beginning, I was working so many hours a week. I think like roughly 30 to 40. It depended on the week and what they needed at the store. But then I had yoga teacher training, which was Friday night, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m., Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So I really didn't have like any time. Like it was like working so much. But the way that I made coaching work was I would work early mornings. Like I think I had to go into my job at 7, like be there at 7. So I would get up usually at like 5 and get like a full on hour of my workout in. And then usually I would read PD and then like send some reach outs or maybe check into my boot camp. And then I would head off to work. And my work schedules or like blocks were really nice. I would usually work either like really early to 2 or 3 or 4 and then come home and have that like afternoon, or I would go into work at like 2, 3 and then stay really late until like 9. And so whatever time I was off, I would just come right home and then like do the IPAs for my business, send out the invites, the like really most important things, send out more reach outs, follow-ups, answering people back, answering my emails. But oftentimes like that resulted in having to go to bed late as well. So like some nights I would go to bed at 11 o'clock at night or midnight. If I had a day where I was going into work the next day at like 2 p.m., I would like usually stay up pretty late just to get all my work done and then allow myself to sleep in until 7, when I would normally be like actually walking into work. But that's just like what worked for me. And when I was at work, I would literally like go to the bathroom and take like a 5-minute bathroom break and like sit on the toilet and send messages and answer messages. Most of my like boot camp check-ins actually happened in the bathroom because I like would have already worked out and posted it. And so I had to like respond to my girls or like comment on people's stuff in the boot camp. And so I would do that in like the early morning, because at my job, we didn't really have breaks. They were a newer store. They didn't have a lot of people working at once. So like if you had to go to the bathroom, like they would always tell you like, girl, go really quick. We didn't have like lunch breaks or anything like that. And so I would just totally take advantage of it and go for really long. But then I would usually listen to like team calls during dinner time. Like if I was coming home and like making dinner after a late shift, like it would literally be 9 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock at night. So I'd either listen to the team call on the way home, or I'd be making dinner while listening to it. Or like on a Sunday night, I'd be meal prepping while listening to it. And I would literally have my notebook out, or like in the car, I would have like my notes out on my phone. Don't recommend typing in your notes while you're driving. But I definitely did that. I also cut out and sacrificed a lot of things because I had a massive goal and I had a massive why. Like I wanted to make coaching my full-time job. I wanted to earn a full-time income with it. And so I cut out Netflix and pretty much like 90% of my socialization during the week. And again, that's because you guys have heard my other schedule. I'm not telling you that you have to do that. Again, it goes back to your goals and what your big why is. But like if you are scraping by and you have no time and you are busy as crazy person and like literally can't even find the time to fit your coaching in, then I would highly recommend cutting out Netflix and the socialization and just really like think of like, are these habits or is anything that I'm doing helping me get to my goal of my, dream life or my dream body, if it's like more health and fitness focused for you, or, are those things helping you? And I asked myself that, and I said, like all of these socializations, like they aren't really helping me. Like I want to stay in and I would rather work on my business because that's going to like build towards my future life, my dream life. And yes, like I still want friends, but I'm gonna use this time now for my future. And when I get to that point in my future, I'll use the extra time I have to make more friends, right? It's kind of like a trade-off. So you really have to decide that for yourself, and like, what is it worth for you? Netflix kind of became my PD time. And like I said, like, I would watch team calls late at night and catch up on team calls. So I just gave that up completely. Scrolling Instagram is another one. Like, we all are so saturated with Instagram. I was on a one-on-one with a coach today, and we were talking about like how you can check your insights and see when people are on Instagram in order to know when is the best time to post. And literally on my Instagram, it's like every day is the same and every time is the same. And I think that's because like social media is taking over our world and people are on it 99% of their time. But we can use that to our advantage as coaches, right? And like put positivity out there and put call to actions out there and share how we are making our lives and our health better, and ask people to join us and become a part of that. So don't, be a part of the people that are scrolling, like be a part of the people that are creating things and sharing with the world. And, you can even switch out that scroll time for checking into your boot camp, scroll in your boot camp and show some love to your girls in the boot camp. So again, like if you're not getting to your goals and yet you're working all the time, ask yourself, what is it that I'm actually doing during my power hours or during my little like power pockets throughout the day, and really come back to like simplifying everything. For me, when I was bad at time management, like simplification was the key. So a way you can do this is think of what is it that we do as coaches, the 4 vital behaviors, right? So like, what are they? PD, lead by example, drink your Shaco, do your workout, connect, invite, share, and then recognize others. Those are the like 4 vital behaviors. If you don't know those, or if you were frustrated, like couldn't think of them, that's what they are. I would recommend memorizing them, getting a tattoo of them. Just kidding. But literally everything stems from those 4 vital behaviors. So if you're, lacking time or frustrated because your time isn't giving you the results that you want, Amy Silverman gave me and a couple other diamond coaches, I think this was the retreat Alex was on with us, a really good like graphic of how to spend your time really wisely as a coach who's pushing for really, really big goals. And that was me always. And so she said 80% of your time should be on that connect, invite part of things that I think it was like the 3rd vital behavior I mentioned. So 80% of your time on that. That's like the IPAs. That's like what's bringing in direct income. And then 10% on your current clients, your current boot camp, people that have already, entrusted their health journey to you. And then the other 10% of the time on your team. So that could even be a pitfall right there. Like, I love you guys and I love our team and I love making graphics for us and I love making team call plans. And like, I just love doing the team stuff. But again, I always have to gut check myself and say like, Leanna, are you spending 80% of your day on your team, or are you spending 80% of your day on connecting and reaching out with new people? And the reason I listen to that 80-10-10 thing is because Amy Silverman has been in the top 10 for like multiple years in a row. And I don't even know how many times elite she is, but she's super successful, right? So success leaves clues. So I'm going to listen to her, especially because I have big goals. And when I first listened to this, I like loved it. And then I thought about it a little bit and I was like, but where's the room for like the PD and the other stuff? So you can just think like, if you're going really all in, that extra 110% can go towards like taking care of you, PD, all that stuff, because that's really, really, really important. But again, that's like leading by example. And that could even be a part of the 10% where you're like checking in on your current clients and your boot camp. Like that's key. Like everything starts from there as well. You can't help somebody if you're an empty cup, right? Like you're just pouring from nothing. So another thing is like using your calendar, using a scheduler. Like I told you before, I watched that YouTube video and this girl like literally blocked out her day 15 minutes like in segments like that. Nowadays, I don't really do that. I usually do like hour segments. I have an awesome planner I got at like Barnes and Noble. It's not like anything fancy or famous, but it does hour segments. And so I'll like just write down, wake up, work out at 7, come home, eat breakfast. This is a really old planner, so I don't go to the gym anymore. So this is a little bit off from my current schedule, but it's just called the Live with Purpose planner. There are so many other good planners out there though. Like find a planner that works for you. If you don't like pen and paper, like use your phone, use your Google Calendar, use Apple. I don't know, did they have an Apple Calendar? But like find something that works for you and be intentional with your time. Block out your time if you need to. Like if you work a job where you have like 4 or 5 hours off during the day, then like block out 2 of those hours for your business, you know, set a timer, minimize distractions, tell your significant other, tell your dog, tell your kid. I know it doesn't always work with your kid, but like just, you know, like minimize that distraction and get in the zone. Drink some Energize if you need to. And if you are so busy to the point where you literally don't have an hour, then I would say get up early and make sure that you have at least an hour in the morning to work on yourself, get your workout in, drink your Energize, read your PD, drink your Shaco, and then like spend the rest of that time on your business, but use power packets throughout the rest of the day, right? Like it's incredible what we can do in 15 minutes if you really like challenge yourself. Like I used to stand in line at places waiting for things and I would like send out a few invites, you know, and by the end of the day, even if it's 3 minutes at a time of sending out invites, that could be 10 invites compared to none, right? Like that's still so much better than nothing. And then like find a buddy, ask what they do your research. Like I said before, I'm kind of just like going over everything now. But yeah, and then I just wanted to leave it open because we're coming up on 8 o'clock. If you guys have any other questions or if you would like me to go over like what is my daily schedule nowadays, because I'm a full-time coach now. But I know we don't have like really any full-time coaches on our team yet. Kelsey's kind of full-time coach, but she's a full-time mom. So that's like a lot of work right there. Okay, I'm gonna look at the chat. Oh, I love that you guys were just talking about this. Yay. Kelsey, you got an invite to the success. I'm so late to the party. That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
I'm like, I swear I'm listening, but I'm crying. I'm like, crying.
Even if you can't be on the same wave as me, go. Just go.
Dude, I got an invite too.
You did?
Yeah, but it's when I'm going to Morocco. And
no,
so,
you have to go.
Because I booked Morocco because I thought the Success Club trip was in April.
Okay, someone's playing Mike Snow, and that's all I hear right now. Is that you, Alex?
No.
I don't hear anything.
Is it my computer playing it somehow?
I think it's yours. Yeah, I think it's your computer. But Alex, Morocco, that is cool. Like,
I know.
I would go. Yeah, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it's like twice the amount of money as the Success Club trip, but
would it be worth it to cancel it for the money or no?
I don't think I can. Like I've already put my deposit in, and yeah, but it's okay. I'll be on a cruise one day.
It's not a cruise. It's like an all-inclusive resort, but still. Yeah. I honestly didn't really like absolutely love the cruise. Like